3 on 12, 4 on 14. It's rain bending this morning. 1E and a 2. You know what to do. Here we go. If you're here, you may as well enter to win a free Zoom guitar session with me. So I'm giving it away because it's the 100th episode today. It's the 100th episode. You can go ahead and take a look at live chat, and you'll notice that people are putting happy picking exclamation point in all caps. And you can benefit from that. Alright, so later today we'll go through and aggregate how, we'll pick a winner. I think that's the easy way to say it, right? Of course, we're all winners. But this contest is just meant to, it's in good humor, it's in good spirit. I don't know if anyone else is feeling the burn here, but I am feeling the burn. Let's get a good breath in, please. That's good. Alright, we're back to the place from whence we came, and I think what we do is go ahead and switch over to fingers 1 and 2 and 3. Yeah, alright, let's try this. Same frets, 10, 12, and 14, but we're stretching the fuel fingers out. Just going for a quick walk through the park, No trouble here. This is super easy, the grass is perfectly mowed, it looks like velvet. It doesn't have the striped lawn, It's perfectly smooth, perfectly velvet. The only ones here in this beautiful park. And the burn that I'm feeling in my fingers is actually, it's that comfort I get from walking in, leisurely in a park, in the daylight, in sunlight. So actually that burn feels pretty good. It's a tropical breeze, isn't it? Montserrat, maybe. Don't forget to breathe, please. Here we go. Getting back to the place from whence we came. One of the things I've learned from doing this session for 100 days is to, for the first 100 days is to condense things, condense the thing, and to, here we go, I'm just going to stretch here, alright, and you can see my shirt, my old school shirt, my old beater shirt, with my old beater guitar. I really need to stretch my arm. Wow, that is clunky. So this is 2013 or something like that, but in 2009 we were working with, well, there were bands, there were some groups and some friends and bands in the Boston area. They would get on stage and they'd have nothing, they're touring or they're playing the Cassim or the Middle East or whatever, or larger venues, and they just have these QR codes on their shirt, So when you're in the audience, you can just literally take a photograph and go to the merch site or the band's website or whatever, wherever they want you to go. You can learn more about the guitar's bio, but it's that was a pretty cool thing to be happening in like 2009. You know what I mean? It was kind of fun, cutting edge. So some in the audience would look at the shirt and say, "What is that?" And others in the know would be able to go learn more about the guitar player or the bass player or the singer or the band in general. So it's a fun thing to do, is to place QR codes on shirts because they're readable on screen too. Yeah. large enough. So that's kind of cool. I thought you might want to see that. Switch my shoulders here. Good time to regroup with the breath too. This is a great time just to re-engage with the breath and to ground ourselves. I practice with bare feet, although I don't keep the bare feet on the screen. I know I'd probably, if I started a foot channel, I'd probably get a lot more traction. But I don't do that. So, but I do like to feel grounded. I like to feel grounded, and I have that sort of moment here where I can just reconnect with the earth and put my mind back to where it belongs after I stretch. And now, as we reapproach the guitar, now we're ready to really crush it now. So you watch out. Right? Helmet, chin strap on. Oh, we're not. I'm missing a lot of these comments. I'm sorry today, but I don't know what is. Hey, Guitar for Everyone. Thank you very much for being here. Japan, right? Thanks for being here. Yeah, Jill, Anthony. That will be awesome, Anthony. Absolutely. Cook sounds like cool. All conditions should have camp. Jason Mancuso. But isn't Mateo just as amazing? His name just amazing. He's just a talented young fellow. Just doing good things. Happy picking. I like seeing that. Pick stuff before. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, first, Barat. Good morning. Can you play Antonio Banderas' song? Yeah, sure. Was that from? What film was that from? Exclamation points, all caps, in the live chat. Happy picking, all caps with an exclamation follower. And we can be on the internet, on Zoom, answering any questions that you might have. It will be a private Zoom session. So it's a one-on-one session, and it's going to happen. So if you type happy picking, we're giving one lucky viewer, lucky or unlucky, the winner. Of course, we're all winners here, but we're just so thrilled that we made it 100. I've survived 100 episodes, and I haven't folded under all the pressure of the guitar. That's right, there is no pressure with the guitar, right? It's only the pressure that we place on ourselves. The guitar is, of course, an inanimate object, and doesn't generate its own pressures. I do, however, like to keep the guitars in the properly humidified location and keep them out of the case. Of course, safe from dogs running, but they don't have the same here. Then that way I can look at the guitars as a reminder 1 and 2 and 3 and stretch 4. 1 E end 2. A 1 C end, 2 C end. But no, not 2 C's. Let's get some of that. Let's get some of that feedback turned down a little bit. Maybe the level's a little bit too much too. I think that's pretty good. And a 2, and a T E, and a 4 E, and a 1, 2, 3, stretch 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we're gearing up for episode like 130. I think that will be roughly the halfway marker. And we'll have more to say about things that we've learned. But I've learned condensing the idea into an image is helpful. You can, what do I mean by that? So taking the idea and converting it into a story, I think, is pretty important. Yeah, I think that's important. Now, if the idea is, we'll really start tracking this down a little bit later today. In about 10 minutes, we're really going to dive into that conversation. So, why don't I leave that then? And of course, we really like to just work out on the guitar. So, one of the reasons why I do this is I feel better about and more confident about accessing ideas on the guitar. If I access the idea on the guitar without previously playing it or previously warming up to it, there's no way I'm going to have any level of confidence playing it. And sometimes I can force confidence, but it's observable by an audience. So I really don't want to be like the singer on the stage that is stretching his arms out just to make it look like I'm emotionally connected to the content. You know what I mean? I think it's more important to really live every single note that we play, right? Really like live it and experience every single note that we play, every single time we play it, every single waking moment with the instrument. Let's go ahead and do the kickstand here. Fingers 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, but we'll kick it back. Finger 1, 2, fret number 8. 1 E and a 2, T E and a 4. Here we go. Yeah, and we're off. I'm just trying to imagine, the Purple Martin's first flight, the first flight out of the box or out of the gourd. Well, it's not really out of the gourd because they don't nest in South America. They don't sort of breed down there. They sort of like come to the north to do that. So, but the first time, and they're pretty largely domesticated bird now, right? They rely on human assistance for homes. And so imagine being the chick, the Purple Martin chick, and the very first thing that you do is you realize that you're in a comfortable, warm, dark, cozy space. But there's a light, there's a hole right there that's really bright. And then you develop some curiosity enough to get out of the hole, go peek after you've been fed so many, dragonflies or whatever. Because they're aerial omnivores, right? So they're aerial omnivores, they feed on the wing. So parents bring back prey to feed the kids, but they never go to ground to get the food. They really never go to ground. It's not their thing. So as a chick, you just imagine imagine yourself just looking out the window the first time and looking down and realizing like the scale and the breadth of and width and depth of this new thing, right? So that's kind of the way I like to approach the guitar every time I play it. And it's hard to do that while I'm talking, but while you're practicing at home, while I'm practicing at home in my own practice environment, what I like to do is I like to have the lights dim when I'm doing what we're about to do, but I like to have the lights on in a well-lighted place, especially if I'm reading, because that will help me to code the information more clearly and quickly. So, especially if I'm reading, all of the lights are on, it's a well-lighted place, I have a music stand lamp, I have overhead lights on, as many as I can find. And then we're good to go. So, alright, well, let's see. Let's go ahead and work on, I wanted to do one more exercise. Let's do an intervallic thing. Alright, this is real quick, really easy. This is going to kind of like warm us up for the next step that we're going to get ready to go into. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get away from like linear playing in this particular exercise. So this particular exercise is built using we're starting on fret 5 on the G string. Open, no, not open. Fret 2 on the G, fret 5 on the D, G note, fret 2 on the G, A note, not just A note, a D, A note, and then fret 3 on the B string. Hey, Dan's here. Yeah, you know the A note, don't you? This is the A, right here, A. What's going on, Dan? Nice to see you, great to see you. You'll see that there's a lot of happy picking going on this morning in the live chat, all caps followed by an exclamation point. And that's your cue to enter yourself into a drawing if you'd like to do, to have an opportunity to just kind of, it really gives me the opportunity really to get to know you a little bit more in a private Zoom session. So it's really an opportunity for me, I think. But we can talk about whatever it is you want to talk about, any goals that you have set, any goals that it's a private Zoom guitar session, so I invite you to, in the live chat, just happy picking all caps followed by an exclamation point. That will enter you into a drawing in a Zoom session, and we'll go ahead and talk about that a little bit more later. But we'll start here. I'm just working this full step and then a perfect fourth, right? So we're moving from G to A to D, and it wouldn't hurt to sing those tones. Or alright, so all we're doing is those three strings, the D, G, and B strings. That's it. And I'm 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and I'm moving up 1/2 step. And it's a good idea to invert that as well. I'm really trying to do is I'm trying to get this to be as simple and as approachable as possible and as smooth as possible. So that way on the descending pattern we can do the same thing, we'll accomplish the same thing, but this time You see what the value? You see the value there. So I'm going to use the same notes. I'm G, A, and D, but this time I'm going to use the G, C, D, an inversion of that. So this is sort of like an expansion of the caged system on the guitar, which is really helpful for like if you're playing like improvisational moments. This really helps for to give us other places to go. For example, so we can do a lot of different things with that we wouldn't be able to do with sort of like tonal playing, right? So we can use these, we could also incorporate this stuff into our tonal playing, just so you can come back and look at it at 43 minutes in. Let's say we're in the key of G. This section, this position, right, the G would be here. sus2, the A would be a sus2, the B would be like a Phrygian sort of thing, the flat 9, and then the 5, and then the C would be a sus2, the D would be another sus2, and then the F, we're going to have the sus2 again here, and then we're going to use the flat 9 with a flat 5 on the top too here. Interesting stuff for Locrian. Here we go. Well, thank you if you stuck it out. I'd like to talk with you about just finding something that works for you. And I remember this is something that might work for you, and I know it will work for you. It's whether or not you want to employ this kind of thing in your playing or not. If this is important to you, if finding your own voice on your instrument is important to you, then this is what I like to do. I like to think about the world before we had polyphony, right, or polyphonic music. So we had music that was sort of like monophonic or single notes. We weren't singing multiple notes at one time. We weren't singing chords. We weren't harmonizing. We were singing or chanting. Most of the time those chants were, just for a random note, we're playing like a D note. The D note is, we'll call it root, and then tension against the root is interesting. It creates movement that goes back to the root note. So I'm just going to think carefully about, I'm going to think about the words that I want to use, and I am only going to think this is where I'm going to set my, you notice we didn't set an intention yet today, so this is where I'm going to set my intention, but I am going to speak that intention through my guitar voice, right? So I'm going to try to use my guitar as a voice, and we don't need a whole lot of, flaming hot licks. We don't need any of that. All I want to do, all I really need to do is be confident in the notes that I play. And to me, this is really where the rubber meets the road. Let's start with the major scale. So we can use the open D string. Let's convert all of this to one single string. So that way we're not worried about the complexity of the guitar. We're just concerning ourselves with using a limited variety of notes. And they all cost $1.25. So there's no one is more valuable than the next. Everything is limited in its variety, and we're starting right here with D major, open D, E fret 2, F sharp fret 4, G fret 5, and we're going to find our guitar voices through this process. And then we have a nice color tone coming after it, the blah, and back to sol, and fa, mi, re, do. So here's again, one more time with that limited variety of tones. Let me go ahead and set this with you. And you can play along with me because we're all using the same notes. We all have an intuitive idea, I think, about where these notes are going. And if they're not going in the same direction, even if we're playing together, because they're of the same ilk or the same scale, they should be able to work together. So here's my intention one more time. Oh, that's not my intention. slippage, you know. Alright, so we've got a pretty good idea about what we could do with just one color, one major scale system. We don't even need to use the major scale system. We could shorten it down to abbreviate it to the pentatonic system. Okay, now we can start working on different sort of, let's work on aeolian or some sort of minor modal approach. So we have this really cool 1, 3, 4 approach. Let's using only 3 fingers. 1, 3, 4 on the A string and 1, 3, 4 on the D string. We can take this to whatever level you would prefer. You could have a tremendous amount of fun. But I wanted to thank you again for being here with me for 100 episodes, today being the 100th episode. I'm giving away, as a way to celebrate this with you, a free Zoom guitar mini session, which is it's a private session, so all you have to do is enter in the live chat today, right here, right now, happy picking all caps followed by exclamation point. That will qualify you to be entered into the drawing, and we can talk about whatever it is you'd like to talk about relating to the world of guitar practitioners. Okay? So that's available if you want to do that. Now's a great time because we're getting ready to jump for the day. And also, there's a PDF binder that we also released today as a way to thank you for being here with us. And it's at jasoncareyguitar.com/5x5, 5x5. So jasoncareyguitar.com/5x5 or 5x5. And that's all a genuine approach to saying thank you and practicing some gratitude for you. Taking your time to be here with us and sharing what you have for an approach with us and being here, especially our blue wrenches. Our blue wrenches are keeping the chats light and lively, and they seem to be showing up here every day, and it's a benefit to the community here at large for certain, and wanted to provide some additional gratitude for that. So thank you again for being here and with us for this 100th anniversary or 100th episode of the Morning Ritual for Guitar Growth. I'm Jason, here with Jason Carey Guitar, and I appreciate it a lot. And for whatever that's worth to anyone else, I'm not really sure how that communicates or translates into your system of care. But we are definitely grateful for being here, having the opportunity to sit down every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. for the entire year of 2025 with the guitar in hand and practicing together around the world. This is a remarkable opportunity for me, and hopefully it seems like we'll continue on into tomorrow. All right, and I think I forgot